If you told me like 3 years ago, I want to say when I was like a year and a half into playing, that I would one day have a guitar like this in my possession, I would straight up tell you that you're lying. Strat obsessed me would have never even wanted to dart an eye at this. And now that we fast forward to 2024, this is a guitar that I value very highly to have in my possession, and it's probably my favorite player at the moment. What's up, guys? This is Isaiah, and I'm back with another video giving you my first impressions on the Strandberg Boden Essential. So this is going to be a fun video because this is going to be coming from the point of view of a first-time Strandberg owner, somebody that wasn't really into this before the Essential came out, or became more interested when they saw this particular release due to how affordable it is as an entry level for this style of guitar versus everything else that Strandberg currently offers in their lineup. And I gotta say, this is quite the unique one, and I got a lot of good to say. I honestly don't got much bad to say, so I think it'll be nice to just start with the bad, and then I can tell you everything I like about it. But before we even get into that, we're probably going to do a little bit of playing, and then we're going to talk about the specs of the guitar. So let's jump into it, guys. So I don't sound like a Strandberg user just yet in terms of my playing ability, and I apologize for that, but I think having this guitar around is definitely going to make me tap into a side of practicing and motivation that I haven't really had beforehand. But let's talk about the specs of the Boden Essential. This body material is something I haven't heard of before, and I apologize if I say it wrong. The body material is Meranti wood, which is interesting. This is pretty lightweight. You know, it's not bad, but it still feels like you're holding a guitar. It's not like there's just nothing there, which I kind of like, honestly. I mean, I have at this point in my life now picked up a Boden Standard, and it was lighter than the Boden Essential, and you know, honestly, I could go either or. That might matter to somebody, so I wanted to mention it. We have, of course, a roasted maple neck, something that you see on most Strandbergs. There are a few that they make that doesn't have the roasted maple neck, but this one is a pretty nice roast. It's a little bit darker than what I've seen from the other Strandberg that I've played at this point in my life. I've only played two, to be honest with you. We get a rosewood fingerboard, which is really nice. We have these cool glow in the dark dot inlays, which is really fun. 24 stainless steel jumbo frets. Feels really good to bend on, feels really good to play on. I'm loving it. The scale length is 25.5. Feels really good. The nut is just listed on Sweetwater as a plastic nut. Not my favorite, but it's been getting the job done. The neck profile is, of course, the signature Strandberg Endure neck. Feels really good. We'll get into that more in the video. They have their own pickups here. These are Strandberg pickups, which is really cool. They have the 5-way coil splitting switch, 1 volume, 1 tone. There's not much to ask for there. This is a Strandberg original design, of course, for the bridge. This is called a EGS, and I believe this was shipped with 10s on it, Diodario. I switched to Elixirs because that's just what I personally play. That's my preference, but that's pretty much most of the specs about the guitar. There's not a lot to talk about here, but there's a lot to talk about here. So let's get into what I didn't like about this guitar. I have to think about the negatives of the guitar because of how much I like it. And this isn't sponsored. Obviously, I don't have enough subscribers to be sponsored. It's really hard to think of a few negatives in terms of what this guitar offers at its price range. But the first thing I could think of is literally just my own laziness. And that's when you have a guitar like this, that's this size, you want to lounge with it, you bring it in awkward positions, you might try to play it while you're laying down. And all I can really say is that when I play it laying down and there's no weight being distributed to my body, all the weight is on my thumb on the back of the Endure neck, and that is really painful at times because it gets heavy having all of the weight of the guitar just hang on my thumb alone. If I was to think of another negative about this guitar, I could say that this one in particular doesn't keep tune very well with the G and B string. I'm not sure what's up with that, but every time I pick it up, the G and B string seem to be way out of whack, and I have to tune it back up. It's really simple, and once I'm actually playing, it usually holds tune fairly fine, but that was a thing that I noticed. The pickups aren't the greatest, but they aren't the worst. And how do I describe this? When you pick a guitar like this up, I guess you can expect for it to be very modern and geared towards the modern guitar player that uses a certain amount of gain. And I feel like once you start putting a heavy amount of gain inside of this, it starts to not sound very good naturally, and you probably want to do some more tweaking. And that's kind of just the A-B I did with another Strandberg guitar that also had 2 humbuckers in it. It's still good pickups, and you can still get good high gain sounds out of it. I just think with this guitar, it takes a little more time. Are there any other negatives that I could think of? One that is pretty huge for me, this is probably the one that's the biggest deal, is that there's no 0 fret on this guitar, which I don't care about 0 frets on guitars usually, but the way that this guitar is designed for you to restring it can be a little harsh without the 0 fret, especially since we're talking about just having like a plastic nut that's like just whatever. It's not Graphtec or anything crazy like that. You pull the string in down here, which that's another thing that's a little annoying because this can take some time if you're not used to it. But once you pull the string up there, there's a hole here, and this hole is very low profile. So you get it in there and you're just rubbing the string across the nut, like right against the nut, just rubbing it in there to get it inside of the spot. And all I can wonder is how long is this nut going to last if every time I want to restring this guitar, I gotta rub the string, predominantly the lower 3 strings. I actually have to rub them and force them inside of those holes down there. I think the theory in my head is when you have a Strandberg that has a 0 fret, like most of them do, a lot of that aggression that comes into restringing it like that, where you can just feel it rubbing against the plastic, you can really just feel it, that bumpy ride, is gone because of the 0 fret. I might sound crazy, but I think that 0 fret kind of helps smooth out where you're going with it just a little bit, you know? We're gonna see if I have to get this nut changed like within a year or something like that. I don't think I will, especially since I play Elixir strings. If I was playing Ernie balls, I could probably guarantee that the nut might end up getting changed. Or maybe I'm just restringing it wrong. Maybe there's a touch to it that I just don't have yet that I need to learn about. This input jack back here, it gets a little loose at times, a little looser faster than other input jacks that I've owned, and that's about it. But let's talk about the things that I like about this guitar. I love the weight, and I gotta tell you, as somebody that predominantly plays a PRS guitar that's like a full-size body with a maple cap, this is such a great feeling to just put this on. My shoulder never hurts. I feel like I can play it for hours and I just feel fine. I love the weight of this guitar. I just can't say much more about that. I love the Endure neck profile. And the reason why I love this Endure neck profile is I don't believe buying guitars will make you a better guitar player, but I've always had a bad habit of having bad technique. Kind of like that-ish is where I would go a lot of the times, or used to go. It's kind of left my body now that I've been playing this for a little bit. But the way that this Endure neck is shaped makes it just, I guess, super uncomfortable to play with bad technique. It really forces me to keep the thumb where I need it to be across the entire neck. neck, and it just feels really good. I like the thickness right here in the first 5 for cowboy chords. I actually think it feels really comfortable, and I feel like this fretboard just makes me fly, especially since I put a little oil on it, and like I said, ellipses are on there as well, and it just makes me want to try to fly vertically. Like, playing this guitar makes me want to do things I never tried to do, I never had the confidence to do as a guitar player, and it's just a really cool feeling and a really cool experience. One of the hugest positives for me, and the reason why I ended up getting interested in this, is, as you guys know, I create content. I'm always on the road, always on the go, or always in small spaces, and sometimes I get sad because I don't get to practice as much as I would like to, because I always have a will and always have a want to improve. A guitar this size is awesome. You're going to be seeing this in a lot of videos now, just because how it fits just right here in my lap. Like, it's just a lap dog. I can type, I can edit videos, it's easy to swing around. I don't got to worry about hitting the back of it on something and damaging like a really expensive guitar or something like that. It's just perfect. I can play it while I'm in the band van on our way to go play somewhere. Like, if we're driving 4 hours, I don't have to sit there and watch anime. Don't get me wrong, I like watching anime on the road, but being able to be like, well, let me pick up my guitar and actually practice some scales, let me practice some legato, let me try to get better at something instead of just doing nothing for a 4-hour, 5-hour car drive. It's really cool to have that flexibility inside of a guitar. They're so easy to transport. I feel so comfortable with the idea of flying this guitar if I had to fly it. I don't think this guitar would break. I don't see a lot of things on here to break. Maybe the thing that would concern me the most is the way that this bridge sticks out past, but besides that, I would be very confident to fly with a guitar like this. And it's just awesome how much more practice you can sneak in on a headless than you can with a regular guitar. Because even if I'm on the couch, or even if I'm downstairs on the sofa, this guitar is just undeniably more comfortable than any other guitar to play in those unique situations where you're not always sitting in a stool with your legs crossed playing a full-size guitar. Can I just say that this is great? Because I've always been not a fan of classical style playing. I should reword that, because I like classical guitar playing, but I don't like actually sitting there and playing like this, or at least I didn't think I did until somebody made a guitar that was actually ergonomic to do so, and it's not uncomfortable, and it's not round, and it doesn't feel weird. I love playing this guitar like this. I play this guitar like this more than I play it like this, in all honesty, because this feels really good, and it definitely also helps with my technique. It helps me learn how to stretch out. It helps me just become a better guitar player. I really wish I tried a Strandberg sooner. I would have never been able to afford one at the time, but man, I really wish I tried these guitars sooner, because they are actually amazing. This guitar doesn't have fan frets, which is really cool to me. I know a lot of guys like fan frets. I like fan frets too, but specifically for the style of playing that I do a lot, it's cool to have a Strandberg on the market that I can comfortably do double stops on, comfortably do a little bit of weird chord shapes down here with, and just still have a good time, because I'm not always going to be that guy that's trying to play a solo. But it's also cool to have like another Strandberg that has the fan frets that you can do like your usual lead lines on. I really love this guitar at the moment. I just don't know what else to say. I want to play it some more for you guys. If you haven't tried out the Boden Essential, I think you should. It's honestly really good. The switch feels okay-ish. The pots feel okay-ish. They're not the best quality, but they're far from the worst quality. But everything else feels really good on it. I will say, advise that for some reason on the websites for like Guitar Center and Sweetwater, these look a lot more bright red on camera. Honestly, it feels like it even looks like this right now as I'm talking and recording, but when you actually see this thing in person with your own eyes, you're gonna get closer to maybe like a faded Fiesta red. I don't know what the black looks like, I don't know what the blue looks like, but this logo is also not white. This logo is silver, and this looks a little bit more of a faded red than it appears on camera. So do advise of that. Besides that, man, this guitar is a win for me. It definitely gets a recommend in my books, and I think you should definitely check one out if you're interested and you haven't tried one yet. Honestly, a lot of people say is that the switch to Strandberg can be very uncomfortable, but for me personally, it was just very natural to switch to a guitar like this, and that could just be from me already being in a state of mind of knowing that my technique was bad and me wanting to fix it. It's kind of been my bedroom number one. My number one out live is still the DGT right now, but if you guys would like to see a video of me testing this out in live performance situations, let me know in the comments and I'll definitely provide for you guys. Yeah, man, I don't have much else to say at the moment. I'll definitely do some follow-up videos about it to keep updating you on what my opinions are, because this is very fresh to me. If you guys would like, you could follow me on Twitch, and if you catch the stream, you could just ask me there, hey Isaiah, how's the Strandberg Boden up for you? How you feeling about it right now? And I will definitely answer and tell you how I feel about the guitar at the moment. So that's a little small plug there. If you guys haven't seen my Instagram, check that out. That's kind of the main hub of where I do all my bookings. If you guys want to, check out a little bit more of what I'm doing at the moment. And also follow me on TikTok. I think that would be really cool to see some of you guys on these different platforms. If you're from YouTube, say that you're from YouTube. You might get a little reward. You never know. But without further ado, I'm going to be signing out. This is Isaiah. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.